In conjunction with our March 2014 cover story on Ruiz Foods, Andy Hanacek sat down with Fred Ruiz, Chairman Emeritus and co-founder of Ruiz Foods, to discuss the history of the company and his parents' influence on the company even today.
So let's reminisce a little bit. Let's look at some perspective as to where the company was, where it is now. Did you ever think back in the day when the early days of the company that you would be here today, 50 years later, celebrating this milestone and having grown as large as you have?
Simply put, no. When my dad asked me to be his partner and start this frozen Mexican food company, our vision at that time was the frozen food company servicing Central California, because that really was the market. And the reality is, when we did start, 50 years ago, when you looked at the frozen food category, it was, I think most of the markets had these chest freezers, and you open up the lid and you pull out a box of frozen vegetables, and so there was the frozen food category was new. Yeah.
What do you think your father would think of the company today on the 50th anniversary, seeing it the way it is now versus where it was back then?
Well, my dad, he had this kind of a funny, chuckle laugh, I guess. And if you asked him that question, he would just give you that chuckle laugh, like, but no, I think he would be, very honest with you, and he'd say the same thing. No, we did not anticipate, this company would be the size that we are, that we would have the opportunities, that we've experienced. I miss him because he really, he's very resourceful, and and he didn't have to. He didn't think about a lot of things, like how big is the market, or how big, you can just. It was just obvious that the market's growing, so you have to keep up with it.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, and so you have to invest in yourself. You have to buy new equipment. You have to be competitive. In those days, we didn't have automation. Everything was handmade. We didn't have large cookers. We had gas pots that you cooked on a burner and stuff like that. But if you were to ask me and ask my dad, what was our competitive advantage then, and it would be our people, our employees. I mean, is this, when you can get people to work because they want to, not because they have to. I think the productivity and the quality of your products are enhanced substantially. Well, the two people who have had the greatest influence on me, as a person, my dad, obviously, he was a good businessman. He was, he was an entrepreneur, so he knew how to start a business, being very resourceful. So, it was great working with my dad, and there were some challenges working with my dad also, I have to be honest with you, as they are in most, privately held family businesses. But the one person who kind of, who never gets enough recognition is my mother. And my mother's name was Rosie, and she was 4 feet 11 inches tall. And she sold shoes in Tulare. When we moved here to Tulare had a population of about 15,000, and I think there were 2 shoe stores in town, and she was a great salesperson, because she sold shoes to probably about every family, every child in Tulare and in the surrounding area, and people loved my mom, and because my mom, she was always cheerful, she was always very happy. And she loved to see people, and she would greet them. She remembered their names and their children, and on and on. But probably for the business side, besides the understanding and appreciating the value of people that I learned from my mom. My mom was a great cook at home. I mean, one time I ate 12 enchiladas for dinner. My mother was a great cook. 12. I mean, I'm talking about regular size.
Yeah.
I ate 12. and this is a long time ago.
Wow.
But you know, I could eat a lot in those days. But
Yeah.
but anyway, but my mom was a great cook. She knew what Mexican food was supposed to taste like. We flavor our products after, you know, how my mom cooked our food in those days. But I used to, you know, I'd be working on a recipe, a sauce or something like that, and I just, you know, it's just not coming out right. So I would take a little cup of it and with a spoon, and I'd go to the store, and I'd be with my, you know, have my, you know, kitchen clothes on, I'd be full of sauce on here and whatever, and I'd be in the back, and my mom, you know, and she'd come back and, Mom, taste this, tell me what it needs, you know, and she would just, you know, she'd just taste it real quick, and oh, it needs a little bit more oregano or a little cumin, or it's got too much salt or whatever, because you know, and so she was buying R&D when we were first growing this company, and we have a sign back there that I think is really important in the R&D, and it says our food not only has to taste good, but it has to taste Mexican.
So out of all the products you guys have and you have had, which one's your all-time favorite and why?
I love our 4-ounce, you know, beef and bean burrito, red chili burrito, and our bean and cheese burrito. I love to, you know, and that's our core product. You know, we've driven that across the country. You know, I love to put them in a little frying pan, put a little butter, and just kind of grill them a little bit on both sides, and they are just awesome. The really hard part is trying to just eat one and two. So, but it's a great product, and so.